Well, thanks for joining us. I've got Erin Bell from SILO Distillery here for round two of the community chat. We had a we had a great chat last night, but unfortunately the video recording didn't make it. So we popped back on to chat again, and I will take it from here. So we're gonna have Erin chat about distillery life, what SILO has been up to, and some of the fun things and important things that distilleries are doing at these times. So, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's rainy, so that sucks. But
Yeah, you got a nice warm still to keep you toasty in there, though.
Jesus, it's always hot in here. Yeah, and we just had a grain delivery, so that always gets your blood pumping.
Yeah, yeah. I remember unloading 10,000 pounds of grain at a time. That was that,
Yep.
that always was the workout for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've just been running nonstop here, pretty much running 7 days a week. Just me and Nicole, um, doing all the stuff that we're doing right now with the hand sanitizer program, which is a humongous change of gears. Um, so it's a little overwhelming,
Yeah.
but
How did
I guess I could.
the switch from distillery to hand sanitizer happen?
Um, it's a little more natural than you would think, in some regards. The story goes basically back in the beginning of March, when all the coronavirus talk started, we found out from our sort of soap and office supplies supplier McGee that there was no way we were going to get hand sanitizer for our tasting room, and we were just going to get it for the bar and tasting rooms to put customers at ease. And so Anne Marie was actually like, well, do you think we could make it? And I said, well, I will do some research. I don't know. We can't make isopropyl alcohol, which is one of the forms of alcohol that's used for producing hand sanitizer and sanitizing products. But the other form is ethanol. And we already produce that because most people don't know that that is what vodka is. Um, um, Basically, vodka is ethanol distilled at over 190 proof and filtered with carbon and then proofed down to bottle strength with sterile water.
Yep.
But sterile water and ethanol are also two of the four ingredients in hand sanitizer. The other two are hydrogen peroxide and vegetable glycerin. So when I found the World Health Organization's recipe online, we ordered some of the supplies. And we ordered a few supplies the first time because we were just going to make it in here. And then a friend over at Worthy Kitchen got wind of it, and they were having a hard time getting some for their restaurants. And so their leadership reached out and said, could we pay you to get like 3 or 4 gallons made? And we were basically just using an excess of ethanol that we produce when we make vodka.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, and we always kind of used it for cleaning tanks and things. So that's what I used to make the few gallons that we were using here, and then a few more for Worthy. And they're good friends. They're also really great customers of our spirits. So I just gave it to them.
Yeah.
And then within days, the whole world changed. And when we gave it to Worthy, for some reason I had like this moment of paranoia where half of me was like, I should just probably prep for more orders like that. And the other part of me was like, you're overreacting. Well, the part of me that didn't think I was overreacting won, and I bought a bunch of glycerin, hydrogen peroxide, and bottles.
Yep.
And then all the restaurants shut down. And we were sort of at a loss because that's the majority of our revenue stream is wholesale distribution. Even in a control state, they're all buying from the state stores. The state is buying from us. And when our wholesale network shuts down, we were sort of like, it was the day before St. Patty's Day. I remember basically our ownership having a conversation where they're like, by the end of this week, we're going to shut down altogether. Production's going to button up, and then Erin will stay on to just manage if there's any orders that do come through. The whole front of house is going to close. Sales are a moot point And so we went from having 10 employees to having everybody furloughed. And then I was sort of like, well, wait, we still made some of this hand sanitizer. Let's just give it away to people. We can still do that. And I bought all the supplies for it, so we might as well just give it away. And so we released a statement saying we were going to do that. And then the orders started rolling in, and we went within a day and a half of being closed altogether to being a full-scale hand sanitizer production plant. And we're not the only one. There's distillers all across the country that started doing this all within the same time frame. It's only been about 3 weeks. And within the first week, there were already hundreds, and now there are thousands. And they're all being supported by both the Tax and Trade Bureau, the FDA, and the World Health Organization. It's sort of considered a temporary easement of protocol in sort of the national health crisis. And everybody's doing it differently. They're all also making it from different products. Some people are distilling it from beer, some from kombucha, some are just rectifying it from neutral grain spirits that they can buy in bulk from factories. Mm-hmm. So everybody's kind of doing their part, but we're all following the same recipe.
Cool.
And it's gone a little nuts.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some normalcy will be returned here soon.
Yeah, I'm ready to get back to making the stuff that I can drink. That's definitely way more fun. I mean, the first small batch that we made, that was excess product, but we have switched gears 100% to producing medical grade ethanol and blending sanitizer. And we give it away to the public for free every day from 4 to 6. They can bring their own containers, and then we're just selling it in bulk to hospitals and facilities that need like hundreds of gallons. And the margin is just covering costs and a little bit extra to support our employees who can't work right now. Yeah. You know, there's only so many employees that can work in the production space safely, and the rest are still on furlough. So we're just making enough to cover ourselves and to support the people who can't work, and then just it's all about doing something good for our community. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
you mentioned it plays right into the farm to glass kind of concept behind SILO. And yesterday you coined, or at least Thursday when we did the community chat, you coined we put the farm in pharmacy, which I thought was hysterical.
Farm to pharmacy, from farm to bottle.
Because everything that you're using is 100% Vermont grown corn, right?
Yeah, so that's originally our production model, is Vermont grown grains that we buy direct from farmers, and we mill and distill and package in-house in Windsor. And that was one of the other crazy things, that when we thought we were going to have to shut down, it didn't just impact us. It impacts all the people that we buy all of our raw materials from, our packaging goods. And being able to keep running means that we're able to keep buying raw grain from our farmers to keep making ethanol from it. So this hand sanitizer is also made from Vermont grown grain, which is kind of novel in and of itself, but it's also keeping sort of the bloodline of a lot of other people in other industries that rely on this financial network going in a time where they could have lost. I mean, we buy probably 120 to 140,000 pounds of grain a year. Even losing a few months of that is a big impact on our farmers because they rely on that. So this has been huge for keeping our whole network afloat.
Yeah. Outside of corn and grain, what other Vermont products are SILO using these days?
Quite a few more. This is the first year, or 2019 was the first year that we were able to buy 100% of our lavender for our lavender vodka, which is one of our most popular products, from a Vermont farmer, Lavender Essentials of Vermont, which is up in Derby, which is near the Canadian border. And we buy about 200 pounds of lavender bud from them in a year. And if you know what a lavender bud looks like, you know that that's a lot of lavender. It is
Yeah.
not a very heavy thing. And it's culinary grade. It's really beautiful, and their farm is really beautiful. And that's all they do, which is pretty cool. This coming summer will be our first summer working with one new farm in the Norwich Thetford area, who will be providing us with all of our cucumbers, and we'll produce all of our cucumber vodka in harvest in the fall, right before cider season. And we get all of our cider juice from Moore's Orchard in Pomfret, where they pick and press all of it for us, and we do about 6,000 gallons a year. We get all of our labels from Creative Label of Vermont up in Winooski. We get all of our maple syrup for our maple-based products from Woods Maple Syrup in Randolph. The Amaro that we just released, about 40% of the ingredients are grown by Vermont farmers. There's 14 botanicals, so the other 60% of those botanicals just don't grow in Vermont.
Yeah.
So we buy them from organic providers outside of the state. But it is also sweetened with that same maple syrup. Our barrels for our bourbon, they're made by Green Mountain Grain and Barrel in Richmond, Vermont. And these current barrels that we have are also made from Vermont wood. And what am I missing?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm missing anybody.
I love Green Mountain Grain and Barrel. They're great guys. The all in operation up there.
Yeah.
And then you're the malted barley up front.
Oh yeah. So we did a single malt. You did a single malt when you were still here, and that all came from Peterson's Malt up in Charlotte, which is probably one of the only and largest malting houses. And he's really great to work with, and we plan to do that again because it was very popular. It won an ACSA award just this last week. Yeah, and that was pretty good. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
And Solstice. Solstice was made from Harpoon beer.
Yeah.
UFO White. So we got that right across the parking lot. And we might be getting more beer from them in about a week to distill into Sanitizer, because they have some and they want to donate it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Be scented.
Yeah. I think it's a Pilsner.
The Pilsner? All right.
We'll see what happens.
Well, once it goes through that vodka column too, there's not much smell left to it.
Yeah. I'm more worried about the foaming. I've been warned that distilling beer can be a foamy experience.
Yeah.
The moment you see gases and transfer.
Yeah. I remember doing the UFO White and running the agitator in a low heat for a while until it lightly bubbled off.
Yeah, that's what I was told by the guys down at Dirty Water in Plymouth, Mass, they're making all their sanitizer from donated beer. And he wrote me this really great long email that talked about, what to expect. And he was like, and for this, you can just basically run the deflegmator at full bore and just blow it off for 30 minutes at a low heat and then crank it. Thank you for taking all the troubleshooting out of this, because otherwise I would have been like, oh, what's gonna happen? So there's no time for R&D. There's just no time for anything but sanitizer.
Yeah. Well, everything will be clean, right?
Yes, everything is basically clean all the time. I am shocked. I would be shocked if anything happened to me, because we're just literally soaked in ethanol and sanitizer all the time.
We were talking about Peterson the other night. You mentioned the Grainshed.
Northeast Grainshed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw him recently in January. He and I and Mimi Butenheim from Mad River Distillers out in Warren, Waitsfield, wherever there, went down to Trillium Brewery for one of the first meetings of the Northeast Grainshed, which is a new group that's been forming in New England and upstate New York, sort of northeastern Pennsylvania, Jersey. I guess Connecticut is New England.
Yeah.
That area, northeastern corner of the country, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a cooperative network of both information and resources that goes basically from the field all the way to the finished product. So whether that's beer or distilled spirits or bread, and then building that sort of resource network in a way that supports new farm growth as well. So they're looking into what is currently grown in the Northeast region, and then they're also experimenting and working with universities like Cornell, University of Maine, University of Vermont, and Hardwick College,
Okay.
University College, I don't know,
Yeah.
who are all working together to sort of understand growing viability and then brewing, distilling, and baking viability of grains, heritage grains, new hybrid grains, existing grains, and then building profiles on those and the farms that grow them successfully, so that when new farms form, they can basically go to these resources and say, this is my farm soil type, my exposure type, you know, wind, sun exposure, all sorts of stuff, what's been grown there before, and they could possibly even sort of play matchmaker and match them up with a farm that's already in the network and get them the information on, you know, what can you grow, but then also give them a network of people who would be buyers, so that they don't have to do that sort of guessing game. And it's when you want to produce from farm to bottle, farm to flask, farm to loaf, it requires building integrity and trust with these farmers, because they're committing a whole season, a whole year out, and they're hoping you're still going to be there when all that stuff comes up. And then one of the other things they found out that a lot of areas in the Northeast don't have access to is mills. So as a distillery, we have a mill, but I didn't know until recently that that is actually the oddball. Most distilleries do not have their own mill. A lot of distilleries don't even use grain, but the ones that do are buying pre-milled through distributor. So the advantage of having a mill means I can buy direct from a farmer, any farmer, and I can process my own product. If you don't have a mill and you're only going through a distributor who sells milled products, you only have access to the farms that they work with through the mill that they work with. Well, if there's a cooperative mill that's being run in a state or a region where farmers could work with and through, and vice versa in reverse, distillers or brewers could work the other direction, they could pair up a lot easier, and they wouldn't be pigeonholed by pre-existing distribution networks that maybe discount smaller quality or smaller quantity farmers because they don't see the need or they don't see the return. So it's kind of it's a huge group of people, and they're really great. They answer a lot of questions. They're planning on doing a lot of like festivals and meetings, and they have a newsletter out. So I'd say go check it out. Northeast Grainshed, very cool people. They even have a calculator right now that if you're a brewer, they're still working on the distiller side, but if you're a brewer, you can see how many square feet of farmland 1 6-pack supports.
Wow.
So I think Kent Brewing down in Connecticut used it and said it was like 4 square feet.
Yeah.
And I sort of did it based on what we bought last year in grain. And I think it says that we support up to 60 acres of farmland. Some of that is the same farmland turned over because we get a lot of corn from the same farmer, but that's still like, perspective wise, that's a lot of land, you know? Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And Andrew's a big proponent of that. And I think he was talking about maybe he's considering putting in a mill. He's got the space for it.
Yeah, he's always down to play, I think, as long as he
Yeah.
can figure out where to put it and get the funding for it.
Yeah, he likes that kind of stuff. He loves that sort of, nexus of providers and creators. So it's really great to be in the same room as people like that.
Yeah.
It just is. It feeds your soul.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's pretty much time. Do you have any fun projects coming up outside of the hand sanitizer world?
um,
Anything you want to tease?
I've been playing around with an idea with King Arthur flour. That could be cool, but I don't want to like overcommit that. So we've done the Amaro,
Yep.
uh, which we're moving down the direction of sort of niche products, niche liqueurs and stuff. We've seen where the trend is going,
Yeah.
and being somebody who can actually distill a neutral grain spirit and a very good one, we like the idea of the market moving in the directions of like um, geographically driven liqueurs by flavor and seasonality and what you can grow. That's sort of right. That's right up our alley.
Yeah.
But also sort of on the Amaro is a digestif. We're looking into doing an aperitif.
Yep.
Other things like that. It's we're just playing around with flavors. We are fortunate enough that we have enough people who like to come in and bring us things that they're growing either in their backyard or on their farm and say, can you do anything with this? Here's a sample. And we'll always say, well, we're going to stick it in some vodka and see what happens.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And speaking of vodka, congratulations on the Good Food Awards.
Oh, thank you. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Especially for an unflavored product. And Good Food Awards doesn't do it by category. They just like spirit.
All spirits.
Yeah,
And
so that was fun.
awarding food products that are produced ethically and sustainably and kind of all feel good check boxes. It's something that I've watched for a while. It's cool to see you on it.
Yeah, that was a cool group of people to be around, all driven by the same sort of ideals, without being obnoxious about it.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out again.
Yeah.
And we'll make this a regular thing. As I said the other night, maybe we'll swing by in the back of the car some night and play some socially distanced Mario Kart or something.
I like it. I got a projector. We could put it on the side of the distillery and just have like drive-in switch.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, Erin. You take care, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
I'll see you.
Cheers.
Bye.